أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ثم الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه الأخيار أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome to you all once again to this episode of the Golden Words series, episode 17. Alhamdulillah. In this episode, inshallah, this topic has been late and it's better late than never, since we happen to have lived to this time to talk about it. Is alhamdulillah, we have to just say alhamdulillah. Okay, so the topic for today is knowledge, al-ilm, knowledge, which should have been discussed even at the first point, but then alhamdulillah, Allah knows best. Okay, so the first point we are going to take, the first abiyat, verses of poem we are going to talk about is from al-Imam al-Shafi'i, of course. When you talk about abiyat in fields like this, Imam al-Shafi'i comes first. His words are just amazing. When you talk about honor, knowledge, respect, struggle, life, those topics that are very meaningful, when you talk about them, then you talk about al-Imam al-Shafi'i. You go to his diwan, he has amazing abiyat for you. He says, and he uses easy language, he's not too hard on the language. He says, تعلم فليس المرء يولد عالما. And he says, وليس أخو العلم كمن هو جاهل وإن كبير القوم لا علم عنده صغير إذا التفت عليه الجحافل. says وإن صغير القوم وإن كان عالما كبير إذا ردت إليه المحافل. Okay, says تعلم, learn, study. تعلم, the command form from تعلم. Okay, says تعلم فليس المرء يولد عالما. For a person is not born a scholar. Study, for a person is not born a scholar. وليس أخو العلم, and a person who has knowledge, أخو العلم here بمعنى صاحب العلم أي من لديه العلم أو عالما. فليس أخو العلم كمن هو جاهل. The one who has knowledge is not like the ignorant. أيستوي الذين يعلمون والذين لا يعلمون. Those who know and those who do not know, are they equal? Of course no, they are not equal. And he says وَإِنَّ كَبِيرَ الْقَوْمِ, verily the eldest among a people, لَا عِلْمَ عنده, who does not have knowledge, صغير, becomes small, إِذَا الْتَفَّتْ عَلَيْهِ الْجَحَافِلُ, if people turn to him. Al-Jahafil, singular of Jahfal, and it's among its meaning is the lip. So it could be that if people turn to him seeking knowledge, seeking counsel, asking questions, we can put it like that. وَإِنَّ كَبِيرَ الْقَوْمِ لَا عِلْمَ عِنْدَهُ, the eldest among people who does not have knowledge, صغير, is small, becomes very small. إِذَا الْتَفَّتْ عَلَيْهِ الْجَحَافِلُ, if the people turn to him seeking answers. And he says وَإِنَّ صَغِيرَ الْقَوْمِ, and the smallest among people in terms of age, he is a small, is considered very young. وَإِنْ كَانَ عَالِمًا, and if he is knowledgeable, regardless the fact that he is small, if he is knowledgeable, كبير, becomes big, becomes the eldest. إِذَا رُدَّتْ إِلَيْهِ الْمَحَافِلُ, أي محفل, gathering, assembly. If this assembly, people who are seeking knowledge from the elder and they didn't get, if their assembly is returned to him, if they turn to him for answers, he become big due to his knowledge. Simple as that, very clear. It says تعلم فليس المرء يولد عالما وليس أخو العلم كمن هو جاهل وإن كبير القوم لا علم عنده صغير إذا التفت عليه الجحافل وإن صغير القوم وإن كان عالما كبير إذا ردت إليه المحافل. Okay. The second one is from our popular book, تعليم المتعلم by الإمام برهان الدين الزرنوجي. It's filled with beautiful abiyats. The second is from that book. He says, تعلم فإن العلم زين لأهله. When you open the book, among the first abiyat you meet is this one. And it's about 5 or 6 abiyats, and I've reduced it to 3. I've just taken 3. It says, تعلم فإن العلم زين لأهله. Study, for knowledge, is a decor for his people, for the people who are knowledgeable. Their knowledge decorates them. You see somebody comes to a program, he's not so honored, he's not wearing the most expensive suit, but when he takes the mic and speaks, everybody's attention is turned to the person. He captures the occasion. So he says, تعلم فإن العلم, study, for verily knowledge, زين لأهله, is a decor, a decoration for his people. وفضل, and also a bounty or a favor. وعنوان, and a direction لكل المحامد, for everything good. عنوان is like address, but here is like the direction to everything good. This knowledge is a bounty and also a direction to everything that is good. It says, وَكُنْ مُسْتَفِيدًا كُلَّ يَوْمٍ زِيَادًا, and be someone who benefits. كُلَّ يَوْمٍ زِيَادًا, every day increase yourself. Increase yourself of what? Then he said, مِنَ الْعِلْمِ, from knowledge. وَكُنْ مُسْتَفِيدًا كُلَّ يَوْمٍ زِيَادًا, and every day benefit from knowledge. Take something from knowledge, as we always advise ourselves. Students of Arabic language, vertically on this platform is platform for students of Arabic language. Generally, people who are students, every day try and study something. Even if it's a word, try and study something. Don't go empty. And he says, wasbah, and swim, from sibah, and swim fi buhur al-fawaid, in the seas of benefit. Buhur is the plural of bahr, which is a sea. Every day when you wake up, kun mustafidan, be someone who benefits. Kulla yawmin ziyada, every day seek for increment. Min al-ilm, from knowledge, increase yourself in knowledge every day. Wasbah fi buhur al-fawaid. Fawaid is the thing that you benefit from knowledge. Any knowledge you pick in is faida. So you see pictures and they write faida, then they write a small grammatical ruling. Faida, then you write something beneficial. Faida is anything beneficial. Okay, so it says wasbah fi buhur al-fawaid, and swim in the sea, and swim in the seas of benefit. The third bait, he says, هو العالم الهادي إلى سنن الهدى. Al-alam here is banner. We say هو العالم الهادي, it is the banner of guidance. You are going somewhere, you are lost, then you see a mark. Here leads to Legon, here leads to Medina, here leads to whatever area. هو العالم الهادي. This knowledge we are talking about, it is the banner of guidance. إلى سنن الهدى, to the culture of guidance. And he says, هو الحسن, it is the protection. When you have knowledge, it becomes your guard. هو الحسن, it is the guard. ينجي من جميع الشدائد, that saves the person who has it from every difficulty. When you have knowledge, your knowledge helps you to save yourself from every difficulty. Okay, so that brings us to the end of his 3 abiyat. I have reduced it to 3. It says, تعلم فإن العلم زين لأهله وفضل وعنوان لكل المحامد وكن مستفيدا كل يوم زيادة من العلم واسبح في بحور الفوائد هو العالم الهادي إلى سنن الهدى هو الحسن ينجي من جميع الشدائد. Okay, now the third one is also from تعليم المتعلم, just one bite. We can't just talk about knowledge like that and move on. We have to, knowledge is good, but we have to give ourselves the culture of studying. If you don't have the culture and the spirit is not in you to study, like you are studying and you are acting lazy sometimes, the laziness is too much and all that, and you have some things that prevents knowledge from staying, it won't work. So let's call our attentions, our consciousness to this point. The next two abiyat are going to give us a culture of study. He says, the number 3, from Ta'lim al-Muta'allim, just one bite. Al-ilmu, knowledge. Harbun is a war lil-fata al-muta'ali, for a person who is arrogant. Muta'ali. Kasayli, like the way water, flowing water. Harbun lil-makan al-ali, is a struggle for a place that is high. You know, he's comparing the case of somebody who is studying and is arrogant. It's hard for knowledge to reach it, just as it is hard for stream or flowing water to go to a higher place. It rather flows down to a lower place. So you need to humble yourself when studying. Imam al-Shafi'i has a statement, I don't know, but related to him. He says, Mimani la yata'allamani, or al-mimani la yata'allamani. Two memes, two words that begins with meme, do not study, you do not get knowledge. And he says, al-mutakabbir wal-mustahi, the arrogant person and the one who is excessively shy. When you are studying, you don't act too shy. Like, because I am the prince, because I am in level 400 in the university, I can't come to a madrasa and study. You know, when you do that, you don't get knowledge. Okay, that is what he is telling us here. Al-ilmu harbun lil-fata al-muta'ali, kasayli harbun lil-makan al-ali. Okay. And then again, in Ta'lim al-Muta'allim, the number 4, he says, I remember this when we were very little. There was this malam, or this scholar, who used to teach us, and he taught us to sing it. We sang it for years before recently when we started studying Arabic language. Then we knew what we were singing. It goes like how he taught us. تمنيت أن تمسي فكيها مناظرا بغير الأنا والجنون فنون. تمنيت أن تمسي فكيها مناظرا بغير الأنا والجنون فنون. وليس اكتساب المال دون مشقة، وليس اكتساب المال دون مشقة. تحملته فالعلم فكيف يكون. Forgotten the way he rhymed it very well. تعلم فالعلم فكيف يكون. That is how we used to sing it. Okay, so he says there is one word here that has a lot of problems there. Let's just start from the beginning. He says tamannaytu, tamannaita, you wished, an tumsi fakihan munaziran, you wish that you just overnight turn into a very well recognized scholar. Bigayri ana, without any struggle. Ana is struggle. Without any struggle, you just want to get sleep, wake up, and you are a very tough scholar. And he says, wal junun, madness is in types. Funun, wal jununu funun. Madness is in types. What he's saying is this kind of wish is also madness. He says, وليس اكتساب المال دون مشقة, and one does not gain money without any struggle. Money, when you want to gain wealth, you have to struggle. You have to go through some hardships. Mashaqqa is hardship, struggle. It says, دون مشقة تحملتها, وليس اكتساب المال دون مشقة تحملتها. Some bring it in different ways. They say تلقيتها. Okay. Some say وليس اكتساب المال دون مشقة تعلموا فالعلم فكيف يكون. Let's explain it in all angles. It says to earn money one has to struggle, and he says وليس اكتساب المال دون مشقة تحملتها, and earning money is never without a struggle that you bear. تحملتها. And you say تلقيتها, that is earning money. You can't earn money without some struggle that you meet on your way. Again, وليس اكتساب المال دون مشقة. You can't earn money without struggle. تعلموا, study. فالعلم, for knowledge, كيف يكون, how will you get it if you don't study? So in all angles the meaning still goes. تمنيت أن تمسي فقيها مناظرا بغير الأنا والجنون فنون وليس اكتساب المال دون مشقة وليس اكتساب المال دون مشقة تحملتها فالعلم فكيف يكون. Okay, this brings us to the end of that one. Childhood, we were taught about this poem long ago. Then I came to meet it and it was amazing. Number 5, which happens to be our last abiyaz that we will visit on this topic, is by Mahmoud Sami al-Barudi. Mahmoud Sami al-Barudi, I don't remember clearly, but I think it's part of the Shu'ara al-Mahjar. Those who are called the Shu'ara al-Mahjar, the diaspora poets, the poets from the diaspora, those who were in Arab lands, Egypt and all these countries, and due to a thing or two, they were exiled or they went into exile and they stayed in European countries and wrote poems there and all that. So they are called the diaspora poets. I think Mahmoud Sami al-Barudi is one of them, if I remember clearly. He says, بقوة العلم تقوى شوقة الأمم بقوة العلم تقوى شوكة الأمم. With the strength of knowledge, the force of every nation becomes strong. A shakwatu here is force. The energy of every nation is strengthened بقوة العلم, with the strength of knowledge. فالحكم في الدهر, for rulership in this era, منسوب إلى القلم, is related to the pen. أي منسوب إلى العلم, is related to knowledge. For one to be a ruler, you don't just carry a ruler and give it to anybody. The person has to be knowledgeable. كم بينما تلفظ الأسياف من علك وبينما تنفث الأقلام من حكم. Okay, loves, something that is thrown, lafaza, to throw something, to carry something and throw it, lafaza, that is the original meaning. And then loves was finally taken to mean word, a pronunciation. So it says كم بينما تلفظ الأسياف. Asyaf is like suyuf, swords. Min alakin, alak is clot of blood. The swords split many blood. Between the blood that the swords split or splash, وَبَيْنَمَا تَنْفُثُ is from nafatha, to do that, to spit. وَبَيْنَمَا تَنْفُثُ الْأَقْلَامُ مِنْ حِكَمِ, between the blood that swords split or splash and what the pens spit. What the pens, the ink that comes out, he makes it look like the pen is spitting. Min hikami, from wisdom. What comes out of the pen from wisdom, and the blood that the sword split. He says, لو أنصف الناس, if people will be just and be truthful, أنصف, to be just and truthful. لو أنصف الناس كان الفضل بينهم, the one that has much honor, or the one that is better among the two, بقطرة من مداد, is a drop from the ink. Medad here is ink. La bisafki damin, and not, the honor will never, or the better one will never be by safki damin, splashing blood, causing blood to droop, spilling blood, safki damin. So the two verses again. It says, Kem baynama talfuzul asyaf min alakin وَبَيْنَمَا تَنْفُثُ الْأَقْلَامُ مِنْ حِكَمٍ, between the bloods that the sword split and what the pen spits of wisdom, لَوْ أَنْصَفَ النَّاسُ, if people will be truthful in judging this matter, كَانَ الْفَضْلُ بَيْنَهُمُ, the one that is better among the two, بِقَطْرَةٍ مِّن مِدَادِ, will the betterment or the favor or the one that is better will be to the ink, the pen rather, not the blood. And he says, لَا بِسَفْكِ دَمِ, not by spilling blood. Okay. It says, فَعْقِفْ, and so due to that, فَعْقِفْ, إِعْقِفْ is from command from akafa, and it mostly goes with akafa ala, to stick to something, to be concentrated on something. Say, akaftu ala durusi, akaftu ala al-amal, I stick to my work, I stick to my studies. It says, fa'aqif ala al-ilm, so stick to knowledge, stick to studies. Tablug sha'wa manzilatin, so stick to knowledge, you reach the goal of a manzilatin fil fadli, you reach in your goal. Sha'wa is the goal, gaya, you reach a limit. Manzilatin, a position, fil fadli, in honor. Mahfufatin, when we say something is mahfufa, is covered with. Mahfufatin bil izzi wal karami, that is covered in honor and karam, munificent. So he's advising, fa'aqif ala al-ilmi, stick to studies, stick to knowledge. Tablug sha'wa manzilatin fil fadli, you reach the limit of a position in honor. Mahfufatin bil izzi wal karami, that is being covered, that is covered by honor and munificence. He says, walil fata muhlatun fid dahri, and a person, a fata, mostly a young person like myself, muhlatun, for a young person, he has a time fid dahri, in the world. A dahr is the time, the era, and mostly life in the world also. So he says, walil fata, so walil fata muhlatun fid dahri, a person has a moment in time. You only live for a moment in time. In dhahabat awqatuha abathan, if it's time, the time that you have goes like that, abathan, uselessly. Abathan, you remember the one no retreat no surrender episode? Abathan tuhawilu la fana'a li sa'irin ana kal qiyamati dhata yawmin ati. If you remember, where he says abathan, where he says they are trying in vain. Abathan tuhawilu la fana'a li sa'irin ana kal qiyamati dhata yawmin ati. The no surrender, no retreat, no surrender episode, we can refer to it. Abathan is to do something without, in vain, without essence. It says, in dhahabat awqatuha muhlatun, in dhahabat awqatuha abathan, if you let your time go away, pass away like that uselessly, without, in vain, lam yahlu min nadami, you will definitely regret. وَلِلْفَتَى مُهْلَةٌ فِي الدَّهْرِ إِنْ ذَهَبَتْ أَوْقَاتُهَا عَبَثًا, a person has a moment in time. If this time goes or he spends it in vain, لَمْ يَحْلُ مِنْ نَدَمِ, he will definitely regret. His life will not be devoid of regret. لَوْلَا الْفَضِيلَةُ لَمْ يَخْلُدْ لِذِي أَدَبٍ ذِكْرٌ عَلَى الدَّهْرِ بَعْدَ الْمَوْتِ وَالْعَدَمِ. See, for the superiority and for the excellence of knowledge, when we say the adabin here, i.e. the ilm, somebody who has knowledge, for the excellence of the knowledgeable person, his memory stays after that. He's saying that if not for the knowledge of the knowledgeable person, if not for the excellence of knowledge of the knowledgeable person, his remembrance, his mention wouldn't stay ba'd al-mamati, after his death, wal adami, and when he is no more. So it is because of the excellence of his knowledge. Now that we are mentioning Mahmud Sami al-Barudi, he is dead. He is dead and gone a long time ago. The one who wrote Ta'lим, المتعلم, is dead. Imam al-Shafi is dead. They are all gone. But because of the virtue of knowledge, their remembrance still sticks with that. In his last line, he's advising, says, فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْمَرْءُ, so let a person look carefully. فيما قدمت يده, in what he does. ما قدمت يده, I what he puts before himself, what he does. قبل المعاد, before he dies. Let one of you be watchful of what he does before he dies. فإن العمر لم يدم, for life, your lifetime does not stay forever. Okay, so this brings us to the end of this episode. Definitely we've seen one or two strange words that we will add up, and we've seen some new abiyat. Okay, Mahmoud Sami al-Barudi, he says بقوة العلم تقوى شوكة الأمم فالحكم في الدهر منسوب إلى القلم كم بينما تلفظ الأصياف من علك وبينما تنفث الأقلام من حكم لو أنصف الناس كان الفضل بينهم بقطرة من مداد لا بسفك دم فاقف على العلم تبلغ شأو منزلة في الفضل محفوفة بالعز والكرم وللفتى مهلة في الدهر إن ذهبت أوقاتها عبثا لم يحل من ندم لولا الفضيلة لم يحلد لذي أدب ذكر على الدهر بعد الممات والعدم فلينظر المرء فيما قدمت يداه قبل المعاد فإن العمر لم يدم. Okay, thank you for staying with us. It's always an exciting time to be with you. Hope we meet again in good faith and health in the next episode. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ramadan Mubarak.